Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Corporate Gamer broadcast. I am your host, Corporate Gamer, and tonight we are playing. Let's see, it looks like my camera is way too bright. Oh, that's okay. All right. Tonight we are continuing with The Outer Worlds. We will be playing the DLC. Murder on Eridanos. Hope that you guys are having a good evening. The camera has changed a little bit because I got another screen and I figured this was a better angle. Actually, this is the angle I used to have on my laptop. Unfortunately, but my laptop is a little bit lower. So you can't see my neon lights behind me, but I might change that until a little bit behind me. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, let's see if this would work. There we go. We got something. It's not much, but we got something. Although it doesn't really show much on the screen. Let's see if another color would work. No, that's not the one. This is the one. Let's see. Orange. Oh no, blue. Green might work. Didn't really change much. Blue, it's purple, leopard, white, that's way too bright. Red, that's not too bad actually. It's very red behind me, but on the screen it doesn't look that bad. So, all right, so let's go, and we're gonna be playing. We're gonna continue again this playthrough, which has been giving me a bit of headaches. But yesterday, due to a little bit of help from our buddies. My new Shohei. Yeah. So I'm actually happy. My parts are coming in for my new rig. So they got shipped, which is awesome. Let's load. Alright, so last time we got into the main story and we were able to move a little bit further along. So we spoke to her last time and she gave us a quest. Deal with frenzied Rizzo. Blah, explained that some of the workers in the lab became suddenly violent and asked that you kill or otherwise pacify them. She directed you to a terminal in the utility room that would disperse a sedative gas to knock them out if you're inclined to spare their lives. So I don't actually know. Okay, so I have to go into there. Okay. Alright, Employee Notifications Terminal. Greetings, employees and lab staff. Find helpful memorandums and news here. Mind the gas canisters. Employee Notification Terminal. Hello, everyone. This is your friendly custodial staff offering a preemptive apology if the elevator hall is crowded with gas canisters. There are quite a few of them and only one of me, so I'm moving them to loads down to the utility room. Do be cautious, though. They're filled with sedative potent enough to put a hungry mama reptodon out cold. Thank you for understanding. Check local listings for details. Actually, I'm gonna change the... Oops, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted at all either. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. Alright. Memo. After our bar meetup. Dear esteemed colleagues, my team and I are all heading to the Grand Colonial's bar this evening for some drinking and fellowship. All real scientists are welcome to join us. You know, the ones that produce quantifiable data and theorems and don't spend their time aberring over how this lighting on the bottle will increase customer sentiment. Cheers from some who understands that market researchers aren't real scientists. Memo: increased protective measures. Team, as we continue our new round of research and product development, I am increasing the required safety gear for lab workers involved. As some of you may know, a few recent accidents involving subjects have left workers maimed, scarred, and one worker had their left hand permanently discolored to a shade of lime green. Rizzo's Research and Development District Labs is expected to continuously produce revolutionary advancements in food and beverage industry. These measures will help us in further pursuit of that mission. All right. Anything else here? No. Let's see. Whoops, that turns that off. There we go. Let's see how this is going to go. Yeah, blue is not too bad, actually. I like yellow. Yellow was pretty good. There we go. So I guess this is the way in, I guess. This is still sealed? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to save. Even though I didn't do anything. But, just in case. Actually, good point. I should be able to check. There we go. If I'm
Me?
Look out!
Got a nice
warm
warm-up.
That's barred.
Incoming!
Something's bumming me out.
Show you happiness! I just want to be your friend! Everyone all right?
I was hoping not to kill anybody, but it is what it is. Utility Terminal, welcome, insert name. We're happy to have you as the new mechanic custodian at insert location. It is your responsibility to ensure your location of employment is tidy and works like a charm. Your duties include, but are not limited to, cleaning of all surfaces, regular maintenance of all machinery, restocking employee break areas, maintenance of all electronic systems, keeping inventory of the location's operational item reserves, voluntary assistance for the lab's research as needed, maintaining thorough documentation for your possible successor. We know that sounds like a lot, but don't worry. Your predecessor has kept thorough documentation for your needs that you can find on this terminal. We hope you're excited to begin this most fulfilling career, and remember, woo woo woo, it's Rizzo's! Ha ha! Alright. Training file corrupted. Please guess how to do your job to the best of your ability. Alright. First day. I've gotten 17 requests from the lab workers that I had to respond to, and also managed to find time to sweep, mop, and buff this whole place. I was hoping that the employee how-to document would help for some of these machines that I've never seen before in my life, but guess what? The asshole left it completely blank. Gas hookup. I got a request from Dr. Blossom to hook up the gas lines to some canisters that are mixed with a heavy sedative for dispersal in the lower labs. Luckily, I've got enough experience cleaning all of the muck that builds up in the vents to get it all done in a couple of days. Still, I wonder what they're needing this for. I think they took the last of the Reptidons out of the lab last week. Hey, Appalachian Drew, how's it going? Appalachian. How you doing, kind sir? Hope that you're having a great evening. My camera angle has changed slightly, so there's that. And yeah, we're continuing with The Outer Worlds: Murder on Eridanos. Yeah, it was actually a beautiful day today. Well, I'm in Montreal. This is Montreal in a nutshell. We've had 4 seasons in the last week. We've had spring. We've had fall. So there's days that it felt like November. There's days that it actually felt like March. There's a day that it felt like summer. It was like in Canada, it's about 20 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees, which is roughly around 75 or 80 degrees Fahrenheit if you're in the States. And then today, it was roughly around 65 Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius. And then tomorrow they're announcing rain, so it's going to feel like fall. And they're announcing colder, so it's going to feel like November. So it's going to be, they're announcing like close to 50, close to 32 Fahrenheit or 0. And then we're getting like 7 inches of snow on Thursday. Yeah, here in Montreal, since, in the last like 15 years, global warming has really changed the climate here. Either you believe it or not, the climate has changed in Montreal. We don't really have a spring anymore. It's kind of like you have like a few days of spring, and then it's either cold or it's summer. Like there's no in between. It's really insane. Okay, well, it's all good. It's because a lot of people don't know the difference, right? So it's a lot, it's especially in the States. Like I can't ever, like, a lot of places, which is funny because we use the metric system here in Canada, but we'll still use pounds. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Ask away, kind sir. Events all done a couple of days, still I wonder, blah, blah, blah. I think they took the last Reptons last week. I guess the pheromone flavoring results weren't as promising as they'd hoped. Experiment participation. Jackpot! Since I read that stupid orientation document, I've been hoping that they'd ask me to volunteer for something and here it is. I get to be a taste tester for the newest Spectrum flavor. I'm heading to the lab right now after I fixed the clog in the shower. So exciting. Alright. Oh, this was the bar. This was the thing that was barred. Alright, cool. So now it's time to navigate around. So does Quebec not pay certain taxes or get more government funds because of old Quebec secessionist threats? So does Quebec not pay certain taxes or get more government funds because of the old Quebec secessionist threats? If anything, we pay more taxes. We're in North America, we're the most taxed, for sure. And it's weird because we have a federal tax and we have a provincial tax. So the federal tax is at 5%. The provincial tax is at 7.5%. But the thing that's weird is, like, so let's say you have $1. The federal tax is on the dollar. It's on the raw amount. However, the Quebec tax is not on only the raw amount. It's on the raw amount and the federal. So instead of, like, let's say it's 5%, so it's $1.05. Instead of charging the 7.5% on the dollar, it's charging the 7.5 on the $1.05, which is weird, but it's the way it is over here. And here we have, like, it's the one thing, like, I love Montreal. I love the province of Quebec. I always will. It's my home. But there's a lot of politics over here, and it's really what's ruined it. And Quebec has never been really. No, yeah. So that was the the British North American Act, which is, yeah, it's a long time ago. But the thing is, there's been a lot of changes in between, right? So um, for the longest time, and I will admit, um, French Canadians were treated like shit. They were treated like second class citizens, and that's in the history books, and you can look it up. Basically, and then in the about the 50s and 60s, you had the Quiet Revolution, la Révolution tranquille, which is basically when Quebec started getting and I don't know if you're a hockey fan or not, but one of the a lot of the reasons why Maurice Richard was so big is that he was against the establishment, the English establishment, as a hockey player, um, and not that he was he wasn't a politician, he was an activist in any way, but just what he represented in the NHL and an English NHL, and it's basically that. So then after the Quiet Revolution in the 60s, you have a separatist movement that started forming, where Quebec, there's certain individuals in Quebec that wanted to separate. So there was a party based on that whole notion called the Parti Québécois. Uh, Basically, it translates to Quebec Party, but it doesn't really have an English name. And basically, the whole premise is that, hey, we want separation from Quebec and Canada. Now, the idea. Okay, cool. So the idea behind the idea of separation from Canada is much different now than it was back then. So back when that party came into power, which is 1976, I believe it's 76. The idea was to be in a state in the United States, be an independent state, still be within the communion of the Union of Canada, the Confederation, but have its own power. So that was the main goal. So then in 1980 there was a referendum, and that referendum, there was a yes or no question. It was, do you want to separate from Canada, or do you want to? I don't actually know what the exact question was, but the idea is no won by a 60-40 margin, I believe. That killed the economy here in Quebec. A lot of companies left Quebec, and they went to Toronto, and that's when Toronto. Yeah, basically. Um and basically a lot of companies went to Toronto, and that's when Toronto started thriving. So because they started getting all because Montreal was the economic hub of Canada for the longest time. We had a Montreal Stock Exchange. All the head offices were in Montreal. A lot of them were in Montreal. Economically, we were booming. Everything was great. And then the first referendum came up, and then it went to everybody pretty much moved out. 15 years later, back and forth, there was a second referendum in 1995. This time, though, the idea was to have its own country. It wasn't to be an independent state. It was to be its own full-fledged. So it was literally to get away from Canada. Uh, that was a fucking tight race, and I'll be honest. I voted no. I wanted to stay within Canada, and we won by the smallest of margins. I think it was 50.4 to 49.6. It was of the smallest of margins, and a simple majority was going to win. And that was in '95. Since then, there's been technically in Quebec, you have one federalist party called the Liberal Party, and then all the other parties are pretty much separatist parties. The Parti Québécois is still separatist. You have I forget their names. The CAC, which is in power, which is from a guy that's running I used to run out of the Parti Québécois, the Quebec Party, years ago. In fact, he was the educational and finance minister, I believe, and then he created his own party. Now they say they're not separatist, but I mean, push comes to shove, they're going to do what they want. So that's basically that. And then you have um, what's the other? Wow, I can't fucking remember the parties. Why can't I remember Quebec political? It's because there's so many of them, and they're all like different flavors of the same thing. Quebec Solidaire. So there we go. So Quebec Solidaire. Um, yeah. So you have Quebec, the CAQ, which is the Coalition Avenir Québec, which is in power right now. The Liberal Party, which has been here forever. The Parti Québécois. So the oldest party is the Liberal Party that was created in 1867. There used to be a conservative party here before 1976, but they died. Um, it's all French, obviously. Oh, cool. Well, again, don't take my word for it. It's my word. It's what I know. But it's possible that I could be slightly off. But in general, I think I'm correct in what I'm saying. Um, and now we're at the point where technically separatism is not as prominent as it used to be. The last time they did a survey, I think it was only 20% of the population that wants Quebec to separate. The problem is with Quebec is if you want to separate, it's fine. I mean, I'm not for it, but it's fine. But you have to have a way of sustaining. And the problem is that we get so much money from Ottawa, which is our capital of Canada, that get poured into Quebec, and it's insane amounts of money. If you remove that, you have to compensate that money, right, some way. And we right now we don't have a way of doing it. Quebec on its own is a very rich. It's rich. It could be rich in its own right because we have hydroelectricity. We're socially we're. Hey PK, how's it going? Hey Shohei, how's it going? Welcome back. Yeah. So sorry. Well, that's okay. I was just talking about Quebec and its history here in Quebec because Appalachian Drew was asking about the taxes and stuff like that, and I just went into a history lesson of Quebec, a brief history of Quebec. Um, the thing about Quebec, it has a lot of history, but we also have a lot of dark history as well. Like how the natives were treated here in Quebec was horrible, and nobody's ever really acknowledged or apologized, or if they did apologize, it was like we're sorry, but there was never anything done to help the natives. And it's pretty much the same everywhere. I mean, it's the same in Canada and it's the same in the States. But here in particular, we had children that were forced to be Christian. They were taken away from their families. They were taught to lose their native history and pretty much use Christianity for the longest time. And it's a lot of the history of the natives. Regardless, there's a bunch of them here in Quebec. You have the Iroquois, you have the Cree. There's a bunch of them, but in general, it's been a really horrible experience for them. And I actually have one of my good friends that's a very big supporter of them. He writes stories for them and stuff, and he's a really really good. So yeah, I'm that's pretty much it. And like I said, I love Quebec, I love Montreal, but I live 2 miles from Hermitage and home of the U.S. president responsible for Trail of Tears. Yeah, yeah. The thing is that history, hindsight is 2020, right? Um, I'm not a super big fan of going back into history and bashing the people, as wrong as they could be, and they could be very wrong. But at the same time, it would have been wrong. But it again, we can never. At least I'm going to talk for myself. I'll never be able to adequately put myself in their shoes because I'm looking at it through the lens of 2021. I'm not looking at it in the lens of the 1960s or the lens of the 1860s, right? And it's easy to go back and say, "Oh yeah, these guys are bastards." It's like slaves, right? What they did, was it wrong? Yes, flat out. But it's kind of what it was back then. That's why Lincoln was such a revolutionary, right? Because and even he was against beating slavery at one point, if I remember correctly. Early on in his political career, he wasn't on board necessarily, and then he changed his mind. It's easy to say, yeah, everybody's a bastard. We don't necessarily have to idolize them, like put statues up there. That's what museums are for, right? Museums, the whole idea of museums is to remember your history without trying to repeat it. And unfortunately, we have a tendency of repeating history. And the way, and I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but I was looking at even, it's so funny. We give people shit for saying, and again, it's wrong, to say to say the Chinese flu, right? No, the 2019 Chinese flu. Yet, everybody that I know calls the 1918 flu the Spanish flu. And it didn't even, and the history doesn't even really dictate, like, proof for a fact that it actually originated in Spain. There were a lot of cases in Spain, but they don't actually know if it originated in Spain. They think that it was actually outside of Spain, but for some reason they call it the Spanish flu. So I mean, and a lot of the, if you look at the history, there's a few websites that actually show parallels between that flu in 1918 and the current pandemic, and you'll notice that it's the same thing over and over again. People were protesting masks. People were protesting a bunch of different things. Yeah, well, exactly, right? So to call it, whatever flu it is, okay, fine. I understand, like, okay, it's where it originated, but we don't even know where it originated, right, back then. Anyways, well, all that to say, there's a lot of parallels between the flu in 1918 and the flu in 2019, which is, it's 100 years almost to the year, which is insane. And I was thinking this, I was actually telling this to my wife. How the hell, like, people now are like fed up, they're bored, they're angry, they have fatigue and stuff like that. Okay, fine. In 1918, what did you have? You didn't have TV. You barely had radio. You may have had radio, but even if you had radio, there wasn't a ton of channels, right? And if you were in rural areas, forget it. It was the equivalent of TVs, right? Today's TVs, right? Rural areas have less access to now. You have, there's no video games. Social games didn't really existed. There was puzzles, maybe. What the hell do you do for fun? Read? Okay, there's only so much you could read. It's insane. Anyways, I'm sorry. I went on a rant, and I apologize if I offended anybody. And if I did, well, put your opinion in the chat, and we'll discuss. I actually don't mind discussing a lot of different things. And I think that one of the worst things that has happened, unfortunately, I also lost a follower because of it. A staunch supporter because of it. the idea of a political party. Now people don't vote for the part. They don't vote for the person that they're voting for. They're voting for the party. You're either a Republican or a Democrat, which sucks. It shouldn't be the way. It shouldn't be that way. You should be voting for the best candidate for the job, regardless if you agree with them. And I think the best thing, even in Canada, I think the best thing you could probably do, you still have a parliament. Well, here you have a parliament. You have a parliament, but you don't have, you don't choose with a party. You choose the individual, and whoever runs for prime minister or president. I think that would. I'm not saying that would solve everything, but it would go a long way in figuring out. Oh, nice. It will go a long way in figuring out and trying to fix what's there now. Because in the States, in Canada, it's not as bad because you have different. It's not as bad, but it's not great either. But at least you can have different parties. You need at least 12 seats to have official party. Oh, thank you. Well, I usually try not to not talk too much politics because you alienate everyone and everybody gets offended. But at the same time, at one point, you have to bite the bullet and say, okay, well, it's enough. Something has to change without me having to run for politics, right? All right, where am I going? But even here in Canada, I mean, you have at the federal level, you have really pretty much two main parties. In the, I don't even know, am I going in the right direction? I think I am. Oh, it's on top. Okay, where's the, you've dealt with the frenzy lawyer, the Bob law should be open to answering questions regarding. Okay, cool. All good. All right, but let's navigate and rant at the same time. So here in Canada, you have pretty much two main parties, like in the States. The equivalent, it's going to be an overly simplistic way of saying things. But pretty much you have the Liberal Party of Canada, which is basically the Democrats in the States, and you have the Conservative Party of Canada. It's gone through a different names, progressive conservative, I don't know. I don't remember what the iteration is now. But at the end of the day, they're conservative. And similar to the States, actually not similar to the States, but the present version of the Conservative Party is a merging between a few parties. And there was a right-wing party in the west of Canada called the Alliance Party, I think, or the Reform Party. I think it was the Reform, and then it changed to the Alliance. And then they merged with the Conservatives to make themselves the Progressive Conservatives, which is bullshit because they're they're conservative. And that's pretty much it. And then you have like smaller parties. So which is the thing that stuns me. For the longest time, there was so going back to Quebec. There was this party that. So once the separation of Quebec, after the referendum of '95 failed for the separation, the guy that was premier at the time of Quebec decided to create his own federal party called the Bloc Québécois, the Quebec Bloc, I guess. It's basically the Quebec Party at a federal level, and their whole idea was to have the interests of Quebec at heart. And they were so popular in Quebec, they used to get pretty much all the seats in Quebec, and they were official opposition a couple of times at the federal level, which is insane to think about. One province, the province of Quebec, had enough votes to vote somebody in, enough seats to vote somebody in to be the official opposition. Talk about think about the votes being fragmented. As a Joker in 1989, Batman said Gotham, related to Washington, D.C., the town needs an enema. Yeah, you know what? The thing about Canada is we're always 10 years behind the States. And here, like, we have a Conservative Party that's in an identity crisis right now because they kind of they keep losing to the Liberal Party, and the Liberal Party, the Prime Minister keeps fucking up. Regardless if you agree with his politics or not, he keeps fucking up with scandals over scandals. But if the election would go today, chances are he would still build a minority government, and all that means is that he would have votes. He has a vote. He has a minority government now, and pretty much the reason why he didn't really get voted down probably is because of the pandemic. But if it would have been for that, he would have been tossed a long time ago. There would have been an election again, and it's yeah. So basically, the last election, the Liberals won the minority government without getting pretty much any votes in the western part of Canada. The western part of Canada voted Conservative. Pretty much the Liberals won because of Quebec, the Maritimes, part of the Maritimes, and Ontario. But Quebec technically and Ontario are the biggest province in terms of population, I believe. It's more than BC. Yeah. Anyways, it's very interesting, and a lot of people find Quebec politics boring, but that's the problem. People find it boring, but at the end of the day, what the hell is this? But at the end of the day, that's how they get you, right? Ooh. Sulfur-soaked top hat. This top hat once belonged to Captain Phazon of Byzantium, last seen on Terror on Monarch, standing much too close to the edge of the sulfur pit. This pungent accessory should serve as a reminder of many terrible dangers found on Monarch, and a further example of why no self-respecting halcyonite should ever visit. Well, I'll take it. I'll take these credits. I won the jackpots with nothing in the bin. Why have a bin there if there's going to be nothing in there? Anyways. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Myself, personally, it feels weird. I feel my views haven't changed that much, but I seem to be leaning towards not right-wing, but not as progressive as I used to think I used to be. Social issues, I'm very progressive. And I'm happy that, we have healthcare and stuff like that, but I find we can do a lot more. Just it's mismanagement. Like everything else, it's mismanagement. I think I visited everything here. This still barred? No, yeah. Bracciolette. Did I visit this guy? Yeah, I think I did. Oh yeah, I went through here already. Yep. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's go back up. Let's save just in case, but I think that should be enough. I apologize. You guys haven't really seen any gameplay. It's just been me ranting. I apologize. It's not that the problem is that the landscape.
Just who in the... Oh, my law. It's you. Wait. What do you think you are?
Dr. Blossom? Captain, we gotta hurry.
My lips are... Well, that's not gonna work. Is she dead?
Somebody didn't want us talking to Dr. Blossom. You think it was Miss Helen's killer?
No shit, Sherlock. Okay, so what's optional? Use the dispenser amplifier to find additional clues. Alright. Collect all 8 variants of Vectrum vodka. Okay. It's not so from. I'm still in today's day and age. I'm still progressive, but I find there's certain things that are way too out of whack for me. Like the whole idea of woke culture or cancel culture at all. Like trying to cancel history. Like you can't. You can make life better by taking steps forward in doing the better thing or the right thing, but you can't look back and say, yeah, let's cancel everything. Fuck this thing. Like, then at that point, nobody can grow. And that's basically where we're at. We penalize people for making mistakes in the past, which to me, I find wrong. Everybody deserves at least a second chance. Now, it's different if, you fuck up now on an issue that's right now, knowing what you did. That's different. But blaming somebody, like, at one point I had written in one of my reviews, or not reviews, but it was a talking piece that I had written, where it had come out where somebody was suing the old owner of Atari, saying that there was like sexual harassment in the 70s at Atari. And it didn't really stick, really, because everybody else that worked there, female or male, came out and said, no, it was fine, right? Because they had like hot tub parties and they would have parties all the time. And obviously a little bit of drugs leads to, debauchery. And they tried to cancel him in a sense that they're trying to like make him irrelevant when he didn't do anything wrong. Like it was the 1970s. It was a very different time from now. So you can't go back in time and say, yeah, you fucked up at that point. You should be penalized. Okay, I'm sure in most cases, the person feels horrible what they did if they did do something wrong. But I mean, that's my take on it. I've always been the type of guy that likes to help people in general, and I like to, let me see. Okay. I try to always do the best thing that I can. So I try to help whoever I can, but, and this is the thing, if you're a nice person, but you don't take bullshit from people, you're an asshole. You could be the nicest guy in the world, but at the minute you have a backbone where you don't take bullshit, you're an asshole. Social media, honestly, like, it's garbage. I keep it because of Corporate Gamer. But if it wouldn't be for the fact that I have a round table and Corporate Gamer, I would have closed all my social accounts a long time ago. Fuck that shit. And pretty much my personal Facebook is pretty much for family. Like I last year I went through this whole thing where I purged everybody. I just deleted everyone. I unfriended everyone. Just because it was just like, okay. Okay, so ask the Nut Hut vendor about Spectrum vodka. The Gatling taunts me that behind its glass cage, the informal. So I'm happy that you guys were. Well, actually, to go back to Appalachian Drew, your thought about lobster and McDonald's. There's different things everywhere. Like I know that I've gone in the States where they were selling hot dogs. Here in Canada, they sell lobster. I don't know where you went, but it's probably, even Tim Hortons had them. And it's not real lobster usually. It's crab meat. It's fake lobster. And we've had pizzas, we've had different things. A lot of stuff doesn't work and doesn't stick. Here it's the traditional hamburgers. Everything else that usually comes out doesn't really stick for that long. Spectrum Gatling Terminal. The Gatling taunts me from behind its glass cage. The infernal void damned thing refuses to work, and I know the exact cause. It's me! Why am I wired like this? Why? Whenever I tried to fiddle with the internal sober, I broke parts off, or connections failed to fire, or pieces stuck out of the casing, and shorted out other components. So, of course, the solution was obvious. Get at least a little plastered prior to work, period. Every work period, when I'm relaxed, my hands don't shake, and it's so much easier to see where things should fit, or how to bridge certain connections. The problem, of course, is that I also get artistic. Why should a weapon work on mechanics alone? Well, should you have to say slot one of every single fucking kind of Spectrum vodka into the thing before it will fire for the first time. I don't even know if it's tied to the weapon's internals or if it's some kind of lock, but it seems like it would fire and absolutely will not. I have to get one of every kind of Spectrum, including black. I can only hope the storage warehouse has had a recent shipment of entire Spectrum, or all this week will have been for nothing. I have to be the dumbest genius this side of Halcyon. L. Blossom. Okay.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Oh, now it's a murder mystery again.
Confirmation of discrepancy confirmed. This person is most definitely dead. But recently, they were still alive.
You are sure that the gunshots earlier, yet this victim's loss of blood is oddly minimal.
These puncture marks. It looks like she was injected with something.
Search the immediate area. Although you distinctly remember hearing gunshot over the intercom, you don't see any bullet casings. Whoever Dr. Blossom confronted over the intercom, they dispatched her and all four of these scientists without much resistance. Means they must be well trained, some kind of sharpshooter or adventurer.
What an awful place to die. What do you think happened to her?
She took a dump. She fired it too hard. I don't know. I have no clue. 5 kills in and out before they could catch a glimpse of the culprit. I'd expect more blood. Strange. I heard gunshots over the intercom, but don't see any casings. Pretty sure they're dead. Whoever did this was evil, like some kind of villain in a serial adventure. I have a feeling it's somebody that's reliving the books or reliving the serial.
There are lots of ways to kill someone without spilling blood. But I guess this isn't the time.
Alright. Where am I supposed to go now? Alright. File. Error file deleted was successfully downloaded to external data store. Messages. From Administrator Ludovico to L. Blossom, Halcyon Ellen's lab tour. Apologies for the late notice, but Miss Bellamy has requested a tour of the facilities while she is visiting Eridanos as Halcyon Helen. Please prepare for her arrival in the morning. From L. Blossom to L. Blossom, note to self. Well, Leora, you did it again. At long last, you located a bottle of Spectrum Black hidden in a crevice of musty self-space in the storage warehouse last night. That much closer to finally getting the Spectrum Gatling to work. And what happened? You got all the way back to the water tower before running into a group of primals already diverting themselves with fruits of the fermented variety. One bad... Maybe it was a recording of gunshots and the recording had a heart attack. Very possible. Hey, Tiger. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? You just missed a whole discussion about Quebec politics and politics in general. Fruits of the fermented variety. One bad blackout later, and here you are, covered in primal vomit. Without the Spectrum Black, get it together. Lab terminal, L. Blossom, the department, all RR&D lab employees. Yeah, I was, Appalachian Drew asked about the taxes here, and I just went to a history lesson of Quebec. I did say the caveat that I may not be 100% correct, but I think I said the things as much as I could. So if you want to relive that, you would have to look at my past broadcast. Because I'm not going to repeat that again, because that was like 20 minutes. You better have a damn good reason for interrupting my meeting with the administrator. I expect a full explanation and apology within the next 15 minutes, or people are going to start losing their jobs. Ooh, nice. Tests involving the parasite Eridanos gigaseus, colloquially dubbed slugs, have produced astounding results, even when compared against our most promising methods of producing a brain chemical dependency, the pheromone and Eridanos gigaseus. produces dopamine more efficiently than anything on record. Further tests will continue researching how much the compound we can introduce to subjects and observe the effects. Despite our less than ideal presentation to administration, the product impressed for two main reasons. As mentioned before, this product will produce that boozy feel-good stimulus like no other. But more importantly, the pheromones makeup is completely unique, which means there are no regulations surrounding its classification. The idea of a completely addictive product with zero laws surrounding it will certainly justify any means.
What kind of monster kills all these people over a data cartridge?
All right, I gotta find some.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The organic matter that comprises this lab worker died at a similar time and of similar circumstance as the other corpses already scanned. Timeline discrepancy. The organic matter that comprises this lab worker died at a similar time and of similar circumstance as the other corpses already scanned.
Wasn't there one on a table somewhere? Or was that out here? How can there be no traces of anybody? Like, seriously. Alright.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Body heat readings indicate that the culprit was just here mere moments earlier in the timeline.
It looks like a standard ventilation shaft. The dimension should fit a small frame person, allowing them to enter here.
Looks like a standard ventilation shaft to me. Somebody around my size could have crawled in. Wouldn't have been comfortable or, clean. Ventilation shafts usually turn into sprat nests.
True story. Examine the fuse box. You see a cute red wire, yeah. Cut red wire. Likely you think it could have been disrupted one of the circuits, perhaps on the door lock regulation system.
See that red wire? Whoever cut that wire was trying to disrupt the circuit. They could have sealed the lab doors temporarily. At least until the failsafes kicked in.
Can I actually go up there? No. Okay. So, I think now I have to go out, I think. Right? Or not. Music box. Ooh, nice. Hack, view recent appointments. All right. Displaying recent appointments. Mrs. Ruth Bellamy, Halcyon Ellen, and Ludovico. Product presentation. Department reception, department utility, cleanup request. Hello, I'm so sorry I haven't had the chance to get your name yet and update the terminal. When you have a moment, could you bring up a mop to the lobby? Dr. Blossom seems to have had a rather rough night and spilled some coffee on the floor. Right. L. Blossom, Department of all RR and DD Labs employees. What in the Architect's blue blazes is going on? What in the blesses corporate law is all that commotion down there? I don't believe the rocket fuel combination distillery mixture was scheduled for another week. Could someone please inform me as to what the racket is all about? You better have a goddamn good reason for him to recommend my meeting. Oh, I read this already. It's literally the same message as before. And I forgot half of it because I was talking to you guys. Alright. By the way, how are you guys doing tonight?
Attention all personnel. Unscheduled pollinization cycle is about to commence. Please evacuate the orchards at this time. Releasing the wasquitos for pollinization. Cycle is now in progress.
What does that sound? And why am I sure we're about to find out?
Your best shot, asshole.
Warning advised. Mosquito venom sacs release chemical, patent pending, name withheld, that makes a single sting up to 12 times more painful and deadly than that of organic wasps.
Yeah, there's two places I have to go. There's that place and there's that place. And
Incoming!
Nice one!
okay, what was the point? Okay.
Mosquito stings have been known to cause auditory confusion.
I should have
before
saved.
death. So
Fuck.
if you cannot understand this message, that may be why.
No, I didn't have the gun. No, I don't want to. All right. Pollination. Hey, Shohei. Welcome back. I'm back in the saddle again. Thankful social media. Okay, maybe it's a recording of gunshots. Well, what? You got the gun. Yeah. So where are you, PK? Did you ever find a place to reside? Alright, let's check the messages. Warning, system is being legal access by a person, blah, 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 whatever. Hilda, generally when two coworkers get blasted out of their minds on Spectrum vodka and one of them makes a joke about how wild it would be if somebody would put wasp and mosquitoes together, he doesn't wake up the next day with a promotion and a couple of 100,000 rabid insects on the back porch. I can appreciate a good joke as much as the next guy, but I got a message earlier today about making sure I increase quarterly yields, and it wasn't from you. If you want to, I don't know, bail me out sooner rather than later. I'd be most obliged, Morris. Hilda, I'll put it bluntly. This place is one bad key press away from a total disaster. Earlier today, I accidentally selected the begin pollination cycle function on this terminal. The cycle just activated. No password protection, no confirmation message, nothing. As it so happened, there was a scheduled tour making its way through the orchards. At about that moment, somehow that idiot groundskeeper exterminator mechanicals got activated, giving the mosquitoes nothing to sting that one wasn't the tour group. Those people barely got away with their lives, and I don't think they'll be so lucky next time. My supervisor has apparently scheduled me for some kind of standard medical treatment, but when I came back, I better have a massage from you. A message. I don't know why I said a massage. Apologizing for not responding to my messages and containing an immediate transfer to somewhere that isn't here. I've had enough. Hilda, I reread my last message to you and I feel I owe you the deepest and most heartfelt apologies. I have been such an entitled bore since I received this promotion. In reality, I should have been thanking you. To oversee the day-to-day coming and going of creatures as majestic as these mosquitoes is a great honor. Congratulations on your promotion, by the way, or by the by. I think that's a typo. I would have thought I'd be mad, especially considering how central my mosquitoes were to your new position. But since that treatment, I found it difficult to stay mad about much of anything. I hope you enjoy Byzantium. Regards. All right. Well, I guess this door open now. However, funny story. Oh. Scan the chemical makeup of the multi-tool. The multi-purpose tool would be nondescript anywhere else, but there is something strange about it.
Tool is comprised of 99% plastic, 0.5% steel, and 0.5% carbonated sugary beverage. Trace amounts of kerosene, alcohol, hydrazine, and liquid hydrogen also detected.
This particular arrangement of substances doesn't mean much to you, except for the fact that none of these substances should be found anywhere near the orchards. Whoever brought this here came from somewhere else. You collect a nearby rod and metal, and sliding it beneath the panel, you push down, and until the panel comes free. As it falls away, you see that it was hiding a slug logo.
What did you find, Cap?
There's some foreign substances on the tool. This thing didn't originate in the orchard. It's likely that whoever released the mosquitoes was a slug employee. Hate to say it, but I don't think I learned a whole lot here.
Slug runs the hotels. And the spaceport. And law knows what else. So that don't exactly narrow it down.
There's some foreign substances on the tool. This thing didn't originate in the orchard.
You think it could be dissidents? Or some type of rival company?
Okay. Well then, it is what it is. Alright, okay. So, next I guess I have to go see Ludovico. Alright. I think I can fast track where I'm supposed to go though. First, let's save, because I haven't saved in a shit ton of time. And let's go to the map. Let's go see Ludovico. These guys. I'm gonna kick his ass. So I'm getting myself a new rig, and I bought myself a new monitor, and that's why the camera is slightly different from what it usually is. So I have my 2 monitors set up right now. It's actually a sweet setup. I don't have my computer though. I'm getting my parts, and
I understand there was an incident at the orchards. The pollination cycle began without my authorization. Fortunately, you managed to save most of the hive. The wasp-mosquitoes are essential to the orchards, you see. Losing them would have cost us months of production.
glad to be of service.
The orchards can be a dangerous place, but my workers understand the hazards. Something about this incident troubles me. The circumstances are suspicious. But let's concentrate on the matter at hand. Have you discovered anything?
Reach for a cigarette. The plot thickens, Administrator.
You have my attention.
Dr. Blossom is dead, murdered by an unknown killer.
That's deeply upsetting. Dr. Leora Blossom was an extraordinary scientist and a friend. We have a murderer on the loose, Inspector. As if the death of Halcyon Helen wasn't enough of a blow to our facility.
She was in trouble when I found her. The other workers had turned violent.
Her commitment to her NDA was admirable. I'll make sure to accelerate the payout of her death benefits to her next of kin.
Well, that's nice of them. Very nice of them indeed. Hey, Foxy. Well, that picture, it went completely... Wow, that alert is way off. Hey, how's it going, Foxy? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing this fine evening? Let's not heap the conclusions. I don't know who's behind her death.
I wish you'd give me a little more information, Inspector. Leora was a friend. But I promised to leave this investigation in your hands, and so I shall. If there's anything else you'd like to share, you have my attention.
I'll let you know if anything happened. Ellen insisted on touring the L&D Rizzo's lab.
Insisted? That's interesting. We'd scheduled a tour of the lab for Helen. Purely a public relations event to be held sometime in the indeterminate future. Then again, Helen and I were not well acquainted. I can't speak to her intentions.
What were you going to show her during the tour?
Little of consequence. We'd tour the grounds, pause at some locations appropriate for a portrait, let her shake hands with our scientists. Public relations.
Cool. Haven't seen your stream in a few days. Everything good? She spent a little time at the orchards. I found evidence she was at the picnic.
A picnic? I don't recall approving a private social gathering at the orchards. I'll have to make a note of this information. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Was there anything else?
I'll let you know. Someone stole data from one of the terminals in research and development.
That's troubling, to say the least. Any transfer of proprietary data is strictly prohibited without my permission.
You can't steal that much data without an expensive cartridge. Our thief had the resources.
A clever deduction, Inspector. That gives us a little information to work with.
This happened just before the Wasquito attack. Someone was trying to stop me.
Yes, I share your suspicions. Someone didn't want you following their trail. This feels like more than corporate espionage. Someone's playing with us, Inspector. And I have never in my life enjoyed...
Doesn't show
games.
whatsoever.
Did you discover anything else?
You're fat. I'll let you know if I learn anything else.
This incident at the orchards must be connected to Helen's murder somehow. I don't know how, but I feel it in my marrow. My apologies, Inspector. This case is under your jurisdiction, not mine. I leave it in your hands. When you're ready, I suggest a word with the hotel coroner. She should have finished her autopsy by now.
Speak to Dr. Goodnight and she's a coroner. How ironic. Alright, so, collect all 8 variants. Does it actually show you? It actually does show you. Let's do a side quest. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's continue. Oh my god, the loading times, I love them. Apparently. But it's the whole area, so there's a bunch of everything here. Oh boy, can I... Okay. No, I want to travel here. Thank you. So we're going to go and look for some purple berry variants. Oh my god. Why is this guy still here?
Forest Mills thanks you for handing the original over, as do I. Perhaps this suit will finally be enough to rescue.
What the fuck? Where is the fucking... There's a thing that says right over here. Oh, there is. Okay. Alright, that's one of them. Alright, let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. Alright, so there's one there. There's one there. So let's go to the... Let's go here. Oh, that's where it is.
They're on us.
Alright, while you fight. Okay, that's one. The next one is...
They got the drop on us.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go get purple berry. Fuck, whatever.
You're back! We just got a new shipment of Rizzo's mock apple cider. It's hard. Wait, was that the slogan? Never mind. Now I'd love to get you something. Maybe a couple somethings? Whatever you like, I can sell it to you at a low, low price.
So, from a perspective of the game itself, the base game, I do agree it's not as... I find this DLC more fun than the main game in a lot of ways. But the main game, again, in my review, I did say that the main game was a good basis for what could be in 2, The Outer Worlds 2. And the first DLC was boring as shit. Murder on Gorgon was not. I got bored of it. I actually just wanted to finish it. This one's more. I actually like it a lot more than the last DLC, when all things are considered. Yeah, I never got the option to have the gun, so I don't know. I don't know what gun you're talking about. Show. Have you sold any Spectrum storage warehouse shipment?
Wow, what a strange question. I'm much too delighted to be suspicious. I sold lower-level Spectrums to workers from RR&DD Labs, Hive Control, and the Conservatory. Jacob's predecessor also splurged briefly on a bottle beyond his pay grade, and Black Hole Birdie bought my most expensive Spectrum when he visited. I wish he'd bought more. Oh, if you're looking for your own Spectrum, remember that you can always buy from the Nut Hut or the Grand Colonial Bar, so long as you have the bits to back up your taste.
Hey Sam, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. It's been a while. As you can see, I'm playing the second DLC from the Outer Worlds called Murder on Eridanos. I see Eridanos, but there's no N. It's Eridanos. Does she actually have anything of worth?
What do you think you're doing?
Huh. Alright, so, which one's closer? This one. Hey, not too bad. Been enjoying the staying at home life while I'm on parental. So, how you been? You been busy? How's school doing? This mission feels. Oh, it's in the fucking hive itself. I love how the guy was like, oh yeah, you saved most of the hive, but yet I'm going to end up killing most of them. Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't pick up the... Okay. Next. Well, there's two of them there, so let's go there. Are you getting a chance to chill out a little bit, or... Oh, I picked up the wrong one. Well, it's better than no. Yeah, I know how bad it can be. My reasoning still... my thought process is still the same. It's fucking tough when you're in school and you're working at the same time. But at the end of the day, it's all freaking worth it. Alright. There's one down there. And this is the labs, right? Yeah. She actually said where to frickin' find them, too. Although it's kind of useless, because they kind of tell you where they are in the marker. On the... Okay. Well, at least you get to chill. You know, I used to make it a point when I was doing my... when I was doing my undergrad... I used to make it a point to always have a night or two where I used to play video games and just chill out. And I used to tell my wife, like I'm done. Like, tonight I'm just playing the video games. And she'd be like, okay, fine. I'll watch a movie or something. There are obviously times where I spend time with her, obviously. Hence why we've been married for so long. Oh, I didn't go here. Oh, I collected all 8 already. Wow, that was fast. There's nothing here. Nothing here. Nothing here. Anything to read? Sure. I'll break it down for pots later. That looks like it's something that I should be able to pick up. But it's not. Okay. Take the Spectrum Gatling. Oh, that's the fucking gun. That's what you were talking about.
Captain, you just found a Rizzo's product I might actually like.
Is that the gun you were talking about? Yeah, I know, but still, you know, like at the end of the week, you need something to chill out, to cleanse your mind of everything else. Because if you're always go, 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 you can do that for a while, but eventually your mind's just gonna go, like, you're gonna burn out. I needed that time to get away, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, right? So I stream. If I would have streamed while I was in my undergrad, that would have probably been a bad thing. But I'm happy that I'm doing it. And I'm really happy that, you know, I'm able to chill out. Like, I have, you know, I take care of my kid, you know, and there's stuff I have to do every day. But at the end of the day, I need to chill out. And this is what it is. And happens that it's up as hell. Yeah, I didn't realize what... I didn't know what you were talking about. Like, because it didn't tell you anything about a gun. Let's see. Can I equip this? Equip. Wait a minute. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Why can't I why? How the fuck do I choose the slot? Because I want this, like, my 4th one. Unless I have to click... Why do I have the same thing, like, fucking... That's actually pretty intense. What's this? That's pretty intense. That's pretty intense. That's pretty intense. How the fuck? You know what? It's been so long since I actually moved weapons around. I don't remember how to... Oh, because it's an energy weapon. I guess. Alright. Let's use it. Alright, let's save, because I just did a bunch of stuff. And let us go to the journal, and hey, that's done. Okay, so the man who crafted. Speak to Dr. Goodnight, confront the intruder, and track down the prophet of profitability. Let's do this one. Why not? Yeah, that's one thing with the pandemic. I really miss with a passion is being with friends and family. I honestly do miss that a lot, and I do hope that. Thanks for passing by, PK. Really appreciate it. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and best of luck to you. And if you need anything, you know where to reach me. All right. Can I go travel where I'm supposed to go? Hey, look at that! I can travel close by. That's the penthouse, right? Yeah. So I want to go in front. Hey, could you? Thank you. Anytime, kind sir. Anytime. By the way, I hope that you guys have been enjoying the streams. I know I went a bit of a rant earlier in the night. Not really a rant, but kind of went off script a little bit. Yeah, I have to go up apparently.
We should try to solve the puzzle hedges in the orchards. The prize is supposed to be something.
Is there any way to go up, like, easy? No, that's the transition to Eridanos. Is there? Oh, yeah, there we go. There's stairs. Stairs! Well, at least I didn't lose any frames tonight so far, which is a good sign. And I'm upgrading my internet, so my internet is not bad, actually, but the internet company is like, yeah, you can, whoa, did I? This seems new. Ruth Bellamy. Cause of death, plasma damage to upper vertebrae, occipital bone, cerebellum. An autopsy report on Ruth Bellamy, formerly Alcyon Ellen. Could this be the apex of my profession? Bellamy's corpse shows evidence of several possible causes of death, but I've determined the killing blow was plasma damage to her upper vertebrae, occipital bone, and cerebellum. Death was instantaneous and painless. Frankly, her death may have come as a relief. She was unwell prior to the attack. High concentration of poisonous compounds in her stomach lining ingested during the last meal. Not lethal, but uncomfortable in the extreme. Spencer Woolrick complained of similar stomach ailments. Is this a problem common to professional actors? My lord. Patient log, Hartford Bosch. Complaint, back pains. Another day, another case that bores me to drink. The ill-fated Byzantine of the hour thought it prudent to gorge himself in enough propelberry wine to incapacitate a primal. He then attempted to reach the lobby by stairs rather than elevator and fell down 6 flights. Automechanical servants broke his fall. He broke their servo mechanisms and will be billed accordingly. Fractures in left clavicle, right femur, parietal bone, ribs. More injuries than brain cells. I recommend replacing propelberry wine with Rizzo Spectrum Violet in order to appease Rizzo's company policy. Nina Han. Complaint, extreme excitability. Finally, something a little different from the norm. Miss Han came in earlier today, escorted by her sister, apparently not long after arriving on Eridanos. The two of them went on a trip through Purpleberry orchards. Miss Han's sister visited the puzzle hedges, but quickly became lost. When she eventually made her way out, Mrs. Han was nowhere to be found. The sister claims that Mrs. Han returned to her hotel room several hours later, but has been unusual ever since. Her sister described the patient as formerly sullen, morose, phlegmatic, and given to melancholia. Her demeanor has transformed into an unpleasant degree of levity and shocking enthusiasm toward everything. I suggested vast quantities of cheap alcohol. Well, that was it. Well, now we have to speak to Spencer Wilrich. Save.
Inspector, not a moment too soon. I've just finished my autopsy report.
Yeah, I read your report on your terminal. Why would I just say that? It means I hacked in.
Ruth Bellamy was killed by plasma damage to the upper vertebrae, the occipital bone, and the cerebellum. If it's any consolation, her death was instantaneous and painless. I've also discovered a poisonous compound in Miss Bellamy's stomach lining ingested during her last meal. Toxic, but not enough to kill her. Spencer Woolrich complained of a stomach ailment around the same time period. I assumed he was being, Spencer. But now I'm not so sure.
Alright, Sam. Well, thanks for passing by. Really appreciate it. You rock. I always appreciate when you pass by. Alright. Alright, so someone was obviously trying to poison Helen.
The thought occurred to me. I tested this hypothesis by vacating the contents of my stomach and testing for the presence of the same toxin. Slightly elevated levels of mercury and an alarming amount of blue food coloring. But other than that, no. I'm certain it wasn't, as you put it, just the hotel food.
You did what?
I did science. My profession.
Someone was obviously trying to poison Helen.
Almost certainly. Well, possibly they were trying to make her extremely uncomfortable, but I suppose killing her would also satisfy that criterion.
You sure it wasn't just a hotel? I would go speak to Spencer then.
Conversations with Mr. Woolrich tend to spontaneously transform into monologues. You'll find him on the VIP guest floor. I'd best return to work, Inspector. Autopsies always whet my appetite, and all this talk of food is distracting me.
Alright, anything else here? Alright, well, guess not. Can I sleep here, actually? Alright, let's save. So basically this whole conversation didn't have to happen. Let's go this way.
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector?
You need your rest. You need your rest, man. I know it could be interesting to watch me play, but you need to rest. I thought the penthouse was being cleaned for my stay. It's a pigsty.
Oh, my. Well, that is certainly odd and alarmingly unacceptable. Allow me to check the service records. Ah, yes. Not to worry, Inspector. It was indeed cleaned for you. Except for the evidence, which is all of Helen's stuff.
I need access to the VIP glass floor.
I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority.
I got your authority right over here.
Promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please.
You've got some high-profile guests here, right? What can you tell me about them? Okay, I already did that. What's that? Oh, okay, that's chocolate. All right, let's save. This is actually a pretty. The DLC is actually pretty.
What floor would you like
Your
to
face.
If you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure to get an autograph for me. Just joking. I've already got one.
Sure. The only thing that would have made that a little bit better is if there was an option to hack your way through, which technically is not true. I don't know if you can or can't. I actually don't.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
Just that. Sure.
Birdie's a good fella. Powerful temper, though.
Hey there. You a fan?
Of your face. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna walk in and just scourge and see what I can get. Just stay there. Yeah, this is useful. Useless. Why would you unpack and just put like one on completely different shelves? Like, this makes no sense.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. Pleased to meet you. What can I do for you?
I had some questions about Ossie on Ellen's murder.
Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know?
I want to know your face. Where were you at the time of the murder?
I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keene's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keene saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off.
Tell me about Birdie and Ellen.
Oh, Birdie was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Birdie was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Birdie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them.
Can you think of anyone who would want to kill Ellen?
Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. What can I do for you?
How long have you been a Ranger with the Rangers?
About half my life. You know I was named third most profitable investment on 2 non-consecutive seasons? Ain't a lot of players who can make that claim. Except for the guys who came in first and second, I guess. I spent the last season injured and almost got sold to the Hephaestus Hammers. But now I'm all convalesced. Ready to lay into some Cleo darlings, you know? Really break some legs.
Sure, break some legs. That's what I want to hear. How long have you... What brings the Rangers to Eridanos?
Since it's the off-season, we're helping support the launch of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Meet the fans, sign tossball cards, that sort of thing. Just between you and me, Rizzo's ought to cancel the whole event out of respect for Miss Helen.
Okay, seriously? Dude. Okay, so you can't go in there. Can you turn on the shower? Oh, that's the toilet. And the shower. This is the most awkward fucking... Why? You can technically, if you're a couple, you can have somebody taking a shit and somebody taking a shower right beside. The good news is, if somebody's taking a shower, at least if they use the soap, it doesn't smell as bad. Unless there's ventilation. And there's no ventilation in this fucking place. Yeah, this is an awkward, futuristic... What the fuck happened here?
Top rungers are into some weird shit.
Black Hole Birdie's tying toss ball. This toss ball signed by Birdie Black Hole Holcomb was presented to Dr. Margrave on the special guest episode of Space Hospital to thank her for removing a toss ball stick embedded in his head.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Yeah. Where is this?
Multiple discrepancies detected. First discrepancy. A woolly cow is present in this hotel room. Woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended maximum.
There's some worrying discoloration in his eyes.
An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club.
Was Black Hole Birdie here?
Insufficient data. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Hey, that's against regulation. What do you think you're doing? I don't have time for this.
Are you fucking kidding me? I lost reputation. Fuck off. Seriously. Well, that's a shame. Too bad you can't flush. Alright, so this is that. So I have to go that way. Let's save. I fucked up one mission too because I didn't do the proper thing. And it's like, okay, that's locked. That's locked. Alright, let's get ready for a lengthy talk. Welcome, Spencer Woolrick. Reminder, you have a fingernail engoldening appointment at 5:30 tonight. Management. From Spencer Woolrick. New room urgently demanded. There seems to have been some kind of mistake. When I first arrived at the Grand Colonial for this unveiling, I was led to a small sitting room that kind of an individual might be allowed to relax in with moderate comfort before being led to his actual quarters. It has been a week and a half, and yet no one has arrived to deliver me to my actual room yet. If I didn't know better, I might assume that this was meant to be my actual room. If I didn't know better, I might assume that you tried to place Spencer Woolrick, star of hundreds of serials, the hero of Aetherwave, sets colony-wide, in a room where he can hardly walk from one end to the other without bumping his toe on the foot of the bed or the shoulder upon his desk. I might even assume that Ruth Bellamy was placed in the Grand Colonial penthouse suite on purpose, rather than by mistake. But I'm sure the issue will be rectified soon, and our positions will be swapped. I hope you won't try to tell me anything to the contrary. So basically, this is what they did previously. This just confirms what people were saying. Mr. Woolrick, while the Grand Colonial staff understand your consternation of being placed on the VIP guest level of the Grand Colonial, we're afraid that there was no mistake. Ruth Bellamy, as current spokeswoman for the Spectrum Brown unveiling, is currently slated to have the penthouse suite. An actress of her station deserves only the best. The VIP guest floor comes in very close as second best section of the hotel. The penthouse suite is only about twice as large as your current lodgings, and the amenities it provides are only perhaps 3 or 4 times better than those who have access to now. Your current lodgings are proper for an actor of your caliber. If you have any other requests, we'll be sure to respond to them after we get to Miss Bellamy's, the Grand Colonial Management. We're sure you've no doubt heard of a horrible event that occurred in the Grand Colonial Ballroom earlier today. While we know that many of you are concerned for your safety, take heed. We've heard your concerns and know that nothing quite says safety like dozens of guns. Armed security will be present all throughout the Grand Colonial on every floor except employee floors, 24/7. Freely go about the hotel premises and spend to your heart's content without worrying about someone shooting you in the back of the head. Management. All right. Alright, leave hotel. Alright. Danger close by Spencer Warwick. Act 7, Scene 15. Open at the Pilot House night. Joanna's Danger, played as always by the dashing Spencer Woolrick, stands hands clasped on the roof of the pilot house. He is deeply absorbed in thought, his furrowed brow and downturned lips making his refined face look all the more handsome. There is a knock on the door. Enter Lionel, Danger's faithful manservant. Lionel, sir, what's the matter? Everyone's looking for you. They want to celebrate how single-handedly saved Eridanos from Boss Masher and the dissident Dankship. Danger. Ah, Lionel. Thank you for coming and get me. I'd love to rejoin the others. Truly, I would. But when I fired my home-built anti-craft cannon, destroying the junk ship with a single shot, a flaming piece of shrapnel landed on the middle of the Rizzo's distillery. Several workers were killed, but worst of all, the damage to the facility will take thousands of bits to repair. Lionel, sir, you are much too hard on yourself. Though the facility was damaged, you saved hundreds of lives by destroying the dissidents. If those people had been freed by the dissidents, that is, killed, the losses in future capital would have been much worse. You've saved our corporations from that fate. Well, perhaps you're right, my friend. Perhaps you're right. I am, sir. Now come along. Let us drink a refreshing bottle of Rizzo Spectrum Brown in celebration of your victory. I'd like that very much. Thank you. And this poor acting was brought to you by nothing. Alright, so it looks like I did everything else than talk to Woolrick. So let's save. Let's talk to this guy.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology.
You'll never take over Halcyon, you fiend. Wow, how did you know I was captain? Draw your weapon. Huh? I'm getting embarrassed by proxy. You want to talk like a human being?
Well, I didn't, you fool. It was in the script. Wait. Now that I think about it, you do smell rather like the Aether, old blood and unwashed feet. This is curious indeed. Who are you? And how did you
Unwashed feet. That's hilarious. I'm here to investigate the murder of Halcyon Helen. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
You're here to investigate me? Oh, I assure you, I'm nothing special. Just an old crook with more money than time. That was a quote from The Retiree's Revenge, in which I played an ex-thief turned decrepit old man. But, of course, I'm certain you already recognized it. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard.
Okay, sure. Oh my god. Make a rude gesture. How about you sign this? Oh, that's amazing. I can just imagine what I could do with that. I'm here for an autograph. I'm here to ask you some questions. Why are you asking me to sign things? Are you okay?
I'd be delighted. Oh, damn. My pen.
Wow, seriously?
I'll just get you a portrait of my face as a souvenir. I'm sure I have the prints around here somewhere. By the by, how did you get in here? The only non-staff individual cleared to enter guest rooms is supposed to be the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh, hello.
Do you derive some kind of pleasure from wasting people's time?
Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in the Marauder's Bane. The absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer.
I'd like to ask you about the murder. I heard you were poisoned. Well, let's ask that after.
Certainly. But one quick question before we begin, if I may. How was it that Bellamy met her end?
She was poisoned with and a shot with plasma.
How awful. Whoever did this must have been quite heartless.
What were you up to at the time of the murder?
I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character.
Got anybody who can corroborate your that?
Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while
How convenient. Got anybody who you were meditating, really?
All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much.
How long have you worked with the Prophet?
Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should.
Okay, back to other questions.
I'll answer whatever you wish.
Did you know Helen well?
Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way. Unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids.
Must have been too flattering, always starring alongside a younger actress.
Oh, it wasn't. And don't think I haven't picked up on your tone. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me.
Alright, speaking theoretically, how would you have killed the victim?
Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of.
Enough about that. Back to other questions.
I suppose that
I hear you were poisoned.
Indeed. The agonizing bowel pain was most undignifying. While I've certainly had no shortage of inadequate hotel meals, this was most explicitly pronounced. I suspect poison. And who would be most likely to poison me but Chef Anwar? Oh, we've clashed almost non-stop about his slop preparation. He must have tainted my meal in retaliation.
Can you think of anyone other than Chef who would want to harm you?
None that I can think of. I treat all hotel staff equally, and with the minimum level of respect that they deserve.
Why didn't you go to the clinic for your stomach pains?
Is that a jibe? Could you imagine the tabloid headlines? Spencer Woolrich, Aetherwave star, spotted in gastronomic distress. Oh, unseemly hardly describes the half of it.
According to the coroner, Helen was also poisoned.
How alarming! Whoever targeted her was certainly targeting me. I can only thank my ironclad constitution that I'm standing here before you.
Helen wasn't killed by poison.
Oh, that's very good to know. Perhaps the poisoner simply meant to incapacitate us both, disrupt the product launch. I couldn't say, Inspector. I'm merely an actor.
Sure.
Very well, then. Oh, must I relive that ghast? But I suppose...
No, okay, that's fine.
Very well. I'm sure you're joking. Perhaps I'm not in my prime, but you've no doubt seen the name Spencer Woolrich on many a serial advertisement throughout your travels.
Oh, sure, you were that guy. I think I've seen your name around. Oh, sure, you were that guy in that one serial.
Come now, I'm sure I would have made more of an impression than that. Could I have really fallen so far behind the times? Did you ever see me in The Masked Marketeer? The Busker of Byzantium? What about episodes 13 and 190 of Princess of Hephaestus? And who could forget From Halcyon with Love? I was great in that movie. Even if I was starring beside a 2-ton bucket of bolts and a woman with no talent.
Sounds like quite a career.
Yes, that would be Burbage 3001. I'm sure you've heard the clomping around. It's over in the next room. It's hard for me to believe that a mechanical actor isn't some kind of joke played on us all by Odeon's director.
All right. So what's the next step? Speak to Chef Anwar. Oh no, that's not where I wanted to go. Fuck. At least the loading times are not that freaking long. Thank the Lord. Xbox Series X, you are my savior. Yeah.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Okay. You gonna analyze or?
Yes? Are you here for the double rack of smoked sprat? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you'll have to wait. Oh, don't give me that look. Let me see if I can pencil you in for later. Actually, what am I saying? I can't do that. I'm booked for the next month. You'll have to make a reservation.
Why are you talking about food? Don't you care about the crime that just occurred?
Crime or no crime, I must keep my head on my work. One does not simply become the head chef in all of Eridanos by fretting over irrelevant happenings.
I'm here to investigate Halcyon Ellen's murder. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
You're the inspector? Here? Why... I mean, you may ask me whatever you want. I have nothing to hide.
Did you prepare all of Helen's meals?
Of course I did. I would never allow anyone else to touch the meals of so important a guest.
Helen's last meal was poisoned.
Oh my law, this is the end, isn't it? My mother always warned me that the culinary world was too dangerous, but I didn't heed her warnings. Okay, I wasn't the one who did it, but I might have been mistaken when I said I was constantly watching Helen's food. Spencer Woolrich and Bellhop Owens were underfoot in the kitchen as I was preparing Helen's meal. Either one of them could have tampered with the food when I was fetching ingredients.
Alibi is a little thin here. Why should I believe anything you're saying?
I understand your reluctance, but... Oh, I just remembered. The kitchen security camera. It'll prove I'm telling the truth about everything. Constable Keene has access to the security footage in her office at the spaceport. If you visit her, you can figure out what truly happened with Helen's meal.
Why were you being so evasive about leaving Helen's food untended?
Well, it's a breach of professionalism, of course. Why else would I worry about it?
Because some of Helen's food combinations turned to acid when unsupervised?
What? Truly? That's an alarming business oversight. Instead of volatile chemicals, the corporations should put barbiturates in everything.
Ciao, Sam.
Everyone
Thanks for passing by. I really appreciate it.
But I don't believe
Thanks
that
for the
was a
support.
risk with Helen's meal. I was up to something else. I may have taken some time to engage in a teensy bit of recreational drinking, and consequently, I may have been somewhat less than coherent after preparing Helen's meal.
Any idea where I might be able to find Bellhop Owens?
Yes, but not specifically. Owens often procures exotic ingredients from the creatures at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. Our guests can be rather particular. Let's not talk about the incident with the Raptidon pheromone glands. It's always hard to say when Owens might be back. If I were you, I'd make a trek to the reserve myself. Otherwise, who knows how long you'll have to wait.
What was Speaker Woolrich doing around the kitchen?
Mr. Woolrich often finds the hotel's meals wanting. He seems to enjoy complaining in person. While I could appreciate someone with a discerning palate for once, I believe that Mr. Woolrich simply enjoys the attention he gets from us. Though don't tell him I said as much. If you wish to speak with him, Mr. Woolrich can most likely be found in his suite on the VIP guest floor. He's usually there if he's not poking around here.
That's all I wanted to ask about. I guess we'll see if you're telling the truth.
Thank you for your understanding, Inspector. I'm sure you'll find the true culprit before long.
All right, guys. I'm gonna have to let it go for tonight. Thank you so much for everyone that passed by tonight. Everybody that hosted me, so Plotsky, Big Bad Bizarre Gaming, Foxy, Overrider, Wasteland Ruckus, Engineering Gaming Nerd, The Angry Gorilla, Mr. Garf 1988, The Integer, and Gallows Adler. Thank you so much for passing by. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Shohei, Sam, PK, Tagger, Foxy, Appalachian Drew. I know you're gone, but thank you so much for passing by. I really, really appreciate it. You guys rock. If you guys want to read my reviews, you can go to roundtable.ca. My last review was of Jake and the Fat Man Part 3. It's the actual review of a 3-part series. And the next review that I will be releasing is my Mass Effect review. So keep on the lookout for that. Have a good one, everyone. Hope that you guys have a good night's sleep and have a great rest of the week. And I shall see you next time. Have a good one, guys.